Well, Ted, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Now, first off, can you tell us a little bit about CPA, who exactly is CPA and what does CPA do?
Yeah, so Clean Power Alliance is the preferred energy provider for 35 communities across Los Angeles and Ventura counties. We're the fourth largest electricity supplier in California and the largest supplier of renewable energy in the entire United States. One interesting thing about Clean Power Alliance is that we don't manage the lines and the wires that deliver the electricity to people's homes or businesses. What we do is we're responsible for putting on those electrons, and mostly they're electrons from renewable or carbon-free energy sources. We're responsible for putting those electrons on the lines and the wires, or what we call the grid. And then our partner in this effort, Southern California Edison, is responsible for delivering those electrons to homes and businesses across Southern California.
Mm-hmm. Now I know CPA actually has been making a significant investment in battery storage. Can you talk about these investments and how they are enhancing power resiliency in California?
Yeah, it's a great question, because as we get use more and more renewable electricity sources in California, they're what's called intermittent, which is solar panels only generate electricity when the sun is shining. Wind turbines only generate electricity when the wind is blowing. So what we need is these batteries, which charge up during the daytime when there's lots of sun in California, and those solar panels are just pumping out electrons. We want to store it. And then when the sun goes down, we still need to supply carbon-free energy to our customers, and we will discharge the energy back out to the grid from those batteries that we charge during the day. So we're charging during the day, and we're discharging at night. And this is really important for grid reliability, because again, as the grid gets more and more filled with these resources that you can't just turn on or off at any time of the day or night, we need different levels of technology to store that electricity so that people can get it when they need it.
I know actually CPA does more than just purchase clean energy for customers. Can you talk a little bit about the customer programs that CPA has been invested in to promote, energy conservation and sustainability?
Yeah, so there's really three kinds of programs that we offer. The first are programs to all of our customers across Los Angeles and Ventura counties, which really help them save money by altering their consumption patterns. Mostly about what time of day they're consuming electricity. The price of electricity really varies between the middle of the day and the evening. It can increase 10 times from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock in the evening. So we have these programs that help customers reduce their consumption at times when energy prices and electricity prices are high. We can do that in a couple of ways. We can do that by sending them a text message and saying, hey, turn up your thermostat, or don't run your dishwasher right now because energy prices are high. Or they can give us permission to control some of the appliances in their houses automatically. We call this, a smart home. So if you have like a Nest thermostat or an Ecobee thermostat, we will pay customers to allow us to control their thermostat during high price events and ultimately save them money. So that's one type. It's like, how do we help people adjust their consumption patterns so that they can save money? The second kind of programs are specifically tailored to low-income customers or customers who are on fixed incomes. So for those folks, we have programs where we are offering them 100% clean energy, but also at a 20% bill discount from solar panels that are installed in our neighborhoods across our service territory. So that's with the help of some government subsidies, we're able to offer that. And then the third type of program is directly with the cities that make up our agency. We're a government agency, not for profit. So we really try to reinvest back into the communities that we serve. And one of the ways we do that is to help our 35 communities and cities invest in sustainability initiatives that they really want to pursue. So whether that might be they want to convert their fleets to electric, or they want to convert one of their buildings to electric, or they want to look for more electric vehicle charging. We have lots of programs just for the cities that are on, within our alliance.
Now, for many of our viewers, understanding how CPA works with Southern California Edison is very crucial to, provide electricity. Can you explain this partnership and how it affects their bills?
Yeah. So it's really pretty simple. On your bill, there are two line items. There's a line item for what we call generation, or the actual electrons that power your home and business. There's also a line item called delivery, which is for the infrastructure, the lines, the wires, the stuff that you see out in the community. Also the meters, how we read your consumption every month. So there are two line items. There's always been two line items, even before Clean Power Alliance arrived on the scene. So what we do is our electrons, when you're paying for the electrons, we get that line item on the bill, and Edison gets the delivery line item. It's still one bill, but a portion of that bill goes to us, a portion of it goes to Edison. One of the interesting things that people often don't realize is that on a typical bill, somewhere between 30 and 40% of the bill is the electrons. Actually, between 60 and 70% of the bill is for all of that infrastructure, the lines, the wires, the meters, all of these other things. Is actually less than half of the bill is the actual generation. So folks who are our customers can also choose, if they want, to get both their electrons and their infrastructure from Edison if they want. So at some level, we are competing with Edison on the electron side. We're competing on price, we're competing on environmental performance, but we're also partnering with them, whoever people choose, to deliver that electricity to their homes and businesses.
Now, moving on to policy, we understand both federal and state government policies significantly impact the clean energy sector. Now, how these policies really influence and support the clean energy sector?
So we're in a unique position in California that California has really taken a leadership role on the policy level for pursuing renewable and carbon-free energy. We have a mandate, it's a state law, SB 100, to achieve full carbon neutrality by 2045 in the electricity sector. There are interim goals that are even more accelerated. It's 90% carbon-free by 2035. So in the next 10 years, we have to continue to really push hard. California really leads on the policy. Where the federal government has a role is in two really big areas. One is funding, obviously. So the Biden administration passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which had lots of incentives for clean energy. And our customers today are benefiting from those on the price side. The other area that the federal government really has a big role is in the building out of new transmission infrastructure, new transmission lines. If we're going to really build all of this renewable energy sources for advancing to a 100% carbon-free grid, we need to build more transmission lines. And the federal government has a lot of say, whether it's in environmental permitting or crossing state lines, about how and where those transmission lines get built.
Now, we know the two major political parties actually have different approaches to energy policies. What opportunities and challenges arise under different political leadership? Can you speak on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, one thing that's kind of always been surprising to me is that there is this big difference between the two political parties, whereas the population as a whole, when you do polling, many people cite climate change as one of their top concerns. Over 2/3 of Americans across the political spectrum say that climate change is a major concern of theirs, and they would like things done to address climate change. Now, what has happened is that the political parties have figured out that this is an area where they can really hit each other back and forth over these things. So one of the things that's interesting is the Inflation Reduction Act has really started to drive lots of manufacturing investment into what we would consider traditionally red states. So Ohio, Georgia, the upper Midwest, which are more sort of swing states. Lots of new investments are going into those areas because they're generally cheaper places to operate and good opportunities for manufacturing. So while the rhetoric is really can be divisive around clean energy investments, I think on the ground, people in their communities are seeing the benefits, and that were there to be a change in administration in next year, you'd probably see some backing off and some maybe a little bit of undoing, but there's going to be a lot of pressure from local communities that are benefiting from this investment to continue moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, especially in terms of policy support for clean versus traditional energy sources, does that somehow impact the clean energy sector at all?
You know, the thing that really impacts any sector in terms of making long-term investments is regulatory and political uncertainty. It's not necessarily, we will make this transition one way or another, but the decisions that we make today are going to have very long-term impacts. Clean Power Alliance signs contracts that are 15 and 20 years in duration. And we have to make a judgment call about what projects to invest in. And we're making that under a particular regulatory and policy environment. If things flip back, sort of violently one way or another from one year to the next, that really causes us to be uncertain and our developer partners to be uncertain. And what uncertainty does is it raises prices. So what we like in any of these areas where there's a transition is to have a long-term roadmap that may shift a little bit from one year to the next, but we really need to keep our eyes on that long-term vision.
Yeah. Now, how is the clean energy market evolving just, in terms of power generation, electric vehicles coverage, and even job opportunities?
Yeah. So there's a tremendous amount of investment right now. In terms of job opportunities, if someone wants to go out and become an electrician right now, now's a good time to be an electrician. You've got housing being developed, but you've also got lots and lots of solar and wind and battery storage projects being built across California. So there's an incredible amount of new investment going in. I think one of the areas where Clean Power Alliance has really been focused on is we do workforce development training, because we hear from our developers sometimes that there's a shortage of workers who are trained in the trades, the building trades. So we're really trying to amp up and get more people involved in those sectors as really good job opportunities.
Yeah, now with the rise of electric vehicles, does CPA have any sort of collaborations with car manufacturers? And if so, can you just talk about these collaborations and how do these collaborations really contributing to CPA's clean energy goals? Yeah.
So what we really at Clean Power Alliance, what we're really focused on is the charging infrastructure. So there's a little bit of a chicken and egg dilemma here, which is people want the electric vehicles, but they also want to know that they have easy access to keeping them charged. The people on the charging side say, well, we need there to be more electric vehicles on the road so that we know that the there's demand for our chargers so that we can, recover our costs. So there really is a chicken or egg, and this is when there is generally when there's a chicken or egg problem, that's a great role for government and agencies like us to step in to sort of push things along. So we've really focused on the chicken part rather than the egg part. And the chicken part is we need to have those chargers out. So we have invested together with the state of California over $13 million across LA and Ventura counties to deploy publicly available EV chargers. So these aren't the ones that are in your home if you just pull into your driveway, but ones that are out on the street in publicly available locations so that people feel like anytime they might need to top up their battery, they're able to.
Well, Ted, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today. We appreciate your time today.
Of course.
您正在收看的是凤凰卫视。